The Vexari Empire had ruled for 10,000 years. Hundreds of worlds bowed to their will. Billions of beings lived in fear of their soldiers. No one challenged them. No one dared. When the Vexari wanted something, they took it. When they spoke, others listened. When they demanded, others obeyed. That was simply how the galaxy worked. Now they had noticed a small world called New Hope. Humans were new to the galaxy. They had only been traveling between stars for a few hundred years. They were curious and friendly. They wanted to meet new species, make new friends, learn new things. They did not carry weapons on their ships. They did not build armies. New Hope was one of their first colonies. A beautiful world with green hills and blue skies. Families had moved there to start new lives. Farmers grew food. Teachers built schools. Parents raised children. It was peaceful. Quiet. Happy. The Vexari did not care about any of that. Maya was 8 years old. She lived with her mother and father in a small house on the edge of the colony. Every morning she woke up to sunlight streaming through her window. Every day she played with her friends in the fields. Every night she looked at the stars and wondered what was out there. She loved flowers. She would pick them and give them to her mother. She loved playing games with the other children, running and laughing until the sun went down. She had never hurt anyone. She did not know how to hurt anyone. Sometimes her father would tell her stories about Earth, the blue planet where he was born. Maya dreamed of visiting it someday. But she was happy on New Hope. It was her home. She did not know that far away, powerful beings were making decisions about her home, about her life, about her future. The Vexari claim was simple. New Hope was in a region of space they considered theirs. Never mind that humans had settled there first. Never mind that no Vexari had ever lived there. Never mind that the colony was peaceful and harmless. The Vexari wanted it, so they would take it. A message arrived at the colony. Cold. Demanding. Final. Leave immediately. This world belongs to the Vexari Empire. You have 7 days to evacuate. After that, we will remove you. The colony leaders begged for more time. They asked to negotiate. They pointed out that humans had been there for decades, that families had built lives, that children had been born. The Vexari refused. 7 days. That was all. The 7 days passed. The colony worked frantically to prepare ships, to pack belongings, to say goodbye to homes they would never see again. Children cried. Parents held them close. No one wanted to leave, but no one wanted to die. On the 7th day, the evacuation was not complete. There were too many people, too few ships. They needed more time. Just a little more time. The Vexari did not care. Their ships appeared without warning, large and dark and covered in weapons. They did not send another message. They did not wait. They simply attacked. Maya was with her mother when the first explosions hit. The ground shook. Windows shattered. People screamed. Her mother grabbed her hand and ran. They joined a crowd fleeing toward the remaining ships. But there was chaos everywhere. Smoke filled the air. Fires burned. In the confusion, Maya's hand slipped from her mother's. Maya, her mother screamed. But Maya could not see her. Could not find her. The crowd pushed and separated them. Maya ran. She did not know where. She just ran. She found a small building, damaged but still standing. She crawled inside and hid in a corner, covering her ears, trying to block out the sounds of destruction. She was so scared. She wanted her mother. She wanted her father. She wanted to go home. A Vexari soldier found her. He was huge, covered in black armor, his face hidden behind a helmet. He looked at the small child hiding in the corner, at her terrified eyes, at her trembling hands. She said, "Please. I am just a girl. Please do not hurt me." The soldier raised his weapon. He did not hesitate. He did not feel mercy. He did not see a child. He saw a human. That was enough. He fired. Across the galaxy, news feeds showed the attack. Other species watched as the colony burned. They watched as humans died. Some felt sadness. Some felt anger. Some just felt relief that it was not them. No one did anything. The Vexari were too powerful. Too dangerous. No one wanted to risk their own worlds. So they watched. And they stayed silent. On New Hope, the attack continued. More died. More suffered. The colony that had been full of life became a graveyard. And somewhere in the ruins, a small body lay still. Flowers still clutched in her hand. The galaxy watched. The galaxy did nothing. The fires burned for 3 days. When they finally went out, nothing was left of New Hope. The green hills were black. The homes were ash. The fields where children once played were empty and silent. A few survivors escaped. They packed into small ships, the ones that managed to launch before the attack ended. They flew through space with nothing but the clothes on their backs and the memories of what they had seen. They carried stories. Stories of Vexry ships appearing without warning. Stories of weapons firing on homes and schools. Stories of friends and family dying around them. Stories of a little girl named Maya, hiding in a building, killed by a soldier who did not hesitate. And stories of the galaxy watching. The news feeds had shown everything. Every species with a screen had seen the colony burn. They had seen humans die. They had seen a child murdered. No one had done anything. The survivors reached Earth weeks later. Their ships were damaged. Their bodies were weak. Their eyes held a look that would never fully go away. The look of people who had seen too much. They stood before Earth's leaders and told their stories. We begged for more time. The Vexry refused. They attacked without warning. There was no military. No weapons. Nothing. My wife died in my arms. My children are gone. A little girl, 8 years old. They killed her while she begged for mercy. And the galaxy watched. Every species. Every world. They saw everything. And no one came. No one helped. No one even tried. The room fell silent. Across the galaxy, other species reacted to the news. Some felt sadness. Humans were young and friendly. They did not deserve this. Some felt anger. The Vexry were bullies, always had been. Someone should stop them. But no one acted. The Vexry were too powerful. Too old. Too dangerous. They had ruled for 10,000 years. Their military was unstoppable. Their reach was endless. If anyone tried to help the humans, the Vexry might come for them next. Their worlds might burn like New Hope. Their children might die like Maya. So they did nothing. They watched. They felt bad. They moved on with their lives. That was simply how the galaxy worked. On Earth, the leaders sat in silence. The meeting had been going for hours. No one knew what to say. No one knew what to do. Some argued for caution. The Vexry are too strong. If we attack, we could lose everything. Earth itself could be destroyed. Others argued for action. They killed our people. Our children. If we do nothing, what does that make us? What do we become? The arguments went back and forth. No progress. No decision. Then an old woman stood up. Admiral Helena Chen had served in Earth Space Forces for 60 years. She was ancient now, her hair white, her face lined with wrinkles. She walked with a cane. Most people thought she was retired, living quietly somewhere, forgotten. She was not forgotten. The room turned to look at her. No one spoke. Chen walked slowly to the front. She leaned on her cane and looked at the leaders, at the generals, at the diplomats. Her eyes were cold, hard, unforgiving. They killed a child, she said. Her voice was quiet but clear. Everyone heard it. Our child. A little girl who loved flowers and played with friends and looked at the stars. They killed her while she begged for mercy. She paused. And the galaxy watched. Every species with a screen saw it happen. They saw our child die. And they did nothing. Another pause. They think we are weak. They think we will forgive and forget. They think we will accept this because we are young and small and harmless. Her voice grew harder. They are wrong. Chen looked at each person in the room. For 200 years, we have been building, she said. Not just ships for exploration. Not just colonies for settlement. Something else. Something secret. Murmurs spread through the room. What was she talking about? A fleet, Chen continued. Hidden in the darkness between stars. Behind moons. Inside asteroids. In places no one thought to look. Built over centuries, piece by piece, in absolute secrecy. She let the words sink in. It has never been used. No one knows it exists. Not our allies. Not our enemies. Not anyone. She straightened as much as her old body would allow. Until now. The room erupted. Questions came from everywhere. How many ships? What kind of weapons? Who built them? How did no one know? Chen raised her hand. The room slowly fell silent. The fleet is ready, she said. It has been ready for years. We were waiting. Hoping we would never need it. Hoping we could live in peace. She looked at the screens showing the ruins of New Hope. At the images of survivors. At the face of a little girl who would never grow up. Peace is no longer an option. She turned back to the leaders. The Vexari killed our child. The galaxy watched and did nothing. Now the galaxy will watch something else. They will watch us remind them why humans should never be underestimated. She nodded once. The fleet rises tonight. No one argued. No one disagreed. The decision was made. Space began to move. In the darkness between stars, where no one ever looked, things started to emerge. From behind moons that had always seemed empty. From within asteroid fields that had always seemed barren. From the voids where senses found nothing but empty space. Ships appeared. First dozens. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Then tens of thousands. They came in all shapes and sizes. Massive battleships covered in weapons. Swift attack craft designed for speed. Support vessels carrying supplies and soldiers. Ships so large they blocked out stars as they passed. The largest fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Across hundreds of worlds, alarms began to sound. Sensor operators stared at their screens in disbelief. Military commanders called for reports that made no sense. Leaders demanded answers no one could give. Where did these ships come from? How did humans build so many without anyone knowing? How did they hide them for so long? There were no answers. Only more ships. More movement. More questions. News feeds across the galaxy showed the same images. Human ships, endless streams of them, moving together in perfect formation. Not toward Earth. Not toward their own colonies. Toward Vexari space. The Vexari Emperor watched from his palace. His advisors surrounded him, all speaking at once, all terrified. He raised a hand for silence. "Calm yourselves," he said. "They are just ships. We have ships. We have weapons. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. These humans are nothing." But his voice wavered slightly, because even he had never seen a fleet this large. Even he had never faced an enemy like this. His censor officer spoke quietly. "Emperor, there are more ships than we can count. More than our entire fleet. More than any fleet in history." The Emperor said nothing. He just watched the screens as the human ships kept coming. Admiral Helena Chen sat in the command center of the flagship. Around her, officers worked quietly, tracking the fleet's progress, monitoring enemy movements, preparing for what came next. The bridge was calm. Focused. Determined. Chen looked at the main screen. At the thousands of ships under her command. At the enemy space ahead. She activated the communication system. Her voice went out across the galaxy. To every world, every species, every being with a receiver. "You watched our child die." She paused, letting the words sink in. Her name was Maya. She was 8 years old. She loved flowers and playing with friends. She never hurt anyone. She never could hurt anyone. Another pause. "You watched her die. You watched the Vexari murder her. And you did nothing. Not one of you raised a hand. Not one of you spoke a word. You watched and you stayed silent." Her voice hardened. "You thought we were weak. You thought we would forgive and forget. You thought we would accept this because we are young and small and harmless." She looked directly at the camera. "Now watch." The fleet entered Vexari space. They did not hide. They did not sneak. They did not use stealth or deception. They came openly, deliberately, in plain sight of every Vexari sensor, every Vexari ship, every Vexari world. They wanted to be seen. They wanted the Vexari to know they were coming. They wanted the Vexari to have time to feel fear. On the first Vexari border world, soldiers watched the screens in disbelief. The human fleet grew larger on their displays. Larger than anything they had ever imagined. Larger than their entire defense force. Larger than their world. "What do we do?" a young soldier whispered. His commander had no answer. He just stared at the screen, his face pale, his hands trembling. The human fleet passed the world without stopping. Without attacking. Without even slowing down. They were not interested in border worlds. They were going deeper. Toward the heart of the empire. Toward the Vexari home world. Toward the Emperor himself. Across the galaxy, other species watched. They had watched Maya die. They had done nothing. Now they watched the human fleet. Now they did nothing again. But this time, the watching felt different. This time, they were not watching a victim. They were watching something else. Something they did not fully understand. Something terrifying. The human fleet moved deeper into Vexari space. Endless ships. Relentless purpose. And behind them, a single message echoed in every mind. "Watch and remember." The Vexari Emperor laughed. He sat on his throne in the capital palace, watching the reports on his screens. Thousands of human ships were entering his space, moving toward his worlds. "Look at them," he said to his advisors. "One small colony destroyed, and they send their entire fleet. Such emotion. Such foolishness. They are like children throwing tantrums." His advisors laughed with him. They always laughed with him. "We will crush them like insects," the emperor continued. "Our military has conquered hundreds of worlds. Our soldiers have never lost. These humans will learn what real power looks like." He gave the order. "Deploy the fleet. Destroy every human ship. Leave none alive." The first battle lasted 11 minutes. Vexary ships moved to engage the human fleet, confident and eager. They had faced many enemies. They had always won. Then the humans began to fight. They did not fight like any enemy the Vexary had ever faced. They did not form lines. They did not follow patterns. They were unpredictable, creative, relentless. Human ships moved in ways that made no sense, then suddenly made perfect sense. They appeared where they were not expected, attacked where they were not guarded, retreated when they were not supposed to, returned when they were thought gone. They did not fight fair. They fought to win. When the 11 minutes ended, every Vexary ship in the battle was destroyed. Not a single human ship was lost. The news reached the emperor. His laughter stopped. "What do you mean, destroyed? All of them? How?" No one had answers. Only more reports. More bad news. The human fleet moved to the first Vexary military base. It was a large installation, covered in weapons, protected by soldiers. The Vexary had used it for centuries to launch attacks on other worlds. It had never been touched. The humans touched it. Ships moved in, firing with precision. Weapons struck exactly where they needed to strike. Defenses fell in minutes. The base burned in space, a ball of fire and debris. When the attack ended, the base was gone. Not a single human ship was lost. The second target was a shipyard. Here, the Vexary built their warships. Massive construction platforms where new vessels took shape. Thousands of workers. Hundreds of guards. Decades of work. The humans did not care. Their ships approached. Their weapons fired. The shipyard exploded, piece by piece, until nothing remained but wreckage. Thousands of Vexary died. Not a single human ship was lost. Across the empire, panic spread. Worlds that had never known fear began to feel it. Citizens who had always felt safe began to hide. Soldiers who had never lost began to doubt. The human fleet kept coming. Kept destroying. Kept proving that no defense could stop them. And always, they moved toward the capital. The emperor watched from his palace. The screens showed the human fleet approaching. Thousands of ships, filling space, blocking out stars. They did not hurry. They did not rush. They came slowly, deliberately, giving everyone time to see them coming. Giving everyone time to feel fear. For the first time in his 10,000-year reign, the emperor felt something new. Fear. Real, cold, undeniable fear. "Stop them," he whispered. "Someone stop them." No one answered. There was no one left who could. Admiral Chen's voice filled the capital. Not through speakers. Not through screens. Directly into every mind, every receiver, every communication device on the planet. "You killed our child." The words echoed through palaces and homes and streets. Her name was Maya. She was 8 years old. She loved flowers and playing with friends. She never hurt anyone. She could not hurt anyone. A pause. "You thought we would not respond. You thought we were weak. You thought we would forgive and forget because you are old and powerful and we are young and small." Another pause. "You were wrong." The human ships moved into position above the capital. "This is for Maya." The attack lasted 1 hour. When it ended, the capital was not destroyed. The humans did not burn the planet or kill everyone. That was not their way. But the capital was broken. Military bases were rubble. Defensive systems were ash. Government buildings were empty. Soldiers who had survived laid down their weapons and surrendered. The emperor's palace stood, but the emperor was gone. Some said he fled. Some said he was captured. No one knew for certain. No one ever saw him again. The Vexary Empire, which had ruled for 10,000 years, ended in a single day. Admiral Chen looked at the screens showing the broken capital. Around her, the bridge was quiet. Officers watched, some with satisfaction, some with sadness, some with a mix of both. An officer approached. "Admiral, we have achieved all objectives. What are your orders?" Chen was silent for a moment. Then she spoke. We go home. She looked at the screen one last time. We go home, and we remember. We remember Maya. We remember why we built this fleet. We remember what happens when someone hurts our children. The fleet turned. They left Vexary space behind. But the message stayed behind with them. Humans do not forget. Humans do not forgive. And humans always respond. The human fleet stopped. They had destroyed military bases. They had burned shipyards. They had broken the capital. They had ended an empire that ruled for 10,000 years. But they did not go further. They did not destroy every Vexary world. They did not kill every Vexary soldier. They did not claim a single planet or take a single resource. They simply stopped. The killing ended. The fleet turned away from Vexary space and began the long journey home. Across the galaxy, other species watched. They had watched Maya die. They had done nothing. They had watched the human fleet rise. They had done nothing. Now they watched something different. They watched a species that could have become conquerors choose not to. They watched a fleet that could have taken any world it wanted return home instead. They watched power that could have been used for tyranny used only for justice. And they began to understand. Humans were not like other species. They did not fight for glory or conquest or wealth. They fought for one reason only: to protect what they loved. Admiral Chen spoke to the galaxy one last time. Her voice was tired but clear. It reached every world, every species, every being who had watched the events of the past days. We did not want this. She paused, letting the words settle. We did not ask for this. We never wanted to fight anyone. We never wanted to build warships or train soldiers or become what we became. We only wanted to live in peace. To explore. To make friends. To raise our children under peaceful skies. Another pause. But you hurt us. You hurt our child. And when you did, you learned something about us. Her voice hardened slightly. We are kind. We are patient. We are forgiving. But we are not weak. And when someone hurts us, when someone hurts our children, we will respond. We will always respond. She looked directly at the camera. Remember that. Remember Maya. Remember what happened when you forgot. The transmission ended. On Earth, a small statue was built. It stood in a peaceful garden, surrounded by flowers. Children played nearby. Families walked past. The sun shone warmly on the grass. The statue was of a young girl, 8 years old. She looked up at the sky, at the stars beyond, with a gentle smile on her face. In her hand, she held flowers. Beneath it, words were carved in stone. Maya. She was loved. She was avenged. She will not be forgotten. People came from all over to visit. They left flowers at her feet. They stood quietly, remembering. They told their children her story. Not the story of her death. The story of her life. And the story of what her death taught the galaxy. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Other species treated humans differently now. With respect. With caution. With understanding. The Vexary Empire never recovered. Its worlds became quiet, peaceful, harmless. They had learned their lesson. Earth grew stronger. Not through conquest, but through determination. Humans kept exploring, kept making friends, kept living their lives. But they never forgot. One day, a young boy visited the statue with his mother. He was about Maya's age. 8 years old, with curious eyes and a gentle heart. He held his mother's hand as they walked through the garden. They stopped in front of the statue. The boy looked up at the girl's face, at the flowers in her hand, at the stars she seemed to be watching. "Mommy," he asked, "who is she?" His mother knelt beside him. She had heard this story from her own mother, who had heard it from hers. "Her name was Maya," she said softly. "She was a little girl, just like you. She lived on a world called New Hope, far from here. She loved flowers and playing with friends." The boy looked at the statue. What happened to her? His mother was quiet for a moment. "Some bad people hurt her," she said. "They thought humans were weak. They thought they could do anything to us and we would not fight back." The boy frowned. "But they were wrong, right?" "Yes, sweetheart. They were very wrong." The boy thought about this. "Did we hurt them back?" he asked. His mother nodded slowly. "We did. We showed them that humans are not weak. We showed them that when you hurt us, we will respond. We did not hurt everyone. Just the ones who hurt her. And then we stopped." "Why did we stop?" "Because we are not like them. We do not want to hurt people. We only want to protect the ones we love." Once they understood that, once they learned to leave us alone, we went home. The boy looked at the statue again, at Maya's peaceful face. She looks nice, he said. I wish I could have known her. His mother smiled. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. They stood together for a while longer. Then the boy spoke again. Mommy, I will not forget her. I will tell my children about her someday. And they will tell their children. She will always be remembered. His mother hugged him tight. That is beautiful, she whispered. That is exactly what she deserves. The boy looked up at the sky, at the stars beyond, at the vast galaxy that had learned such an important lesson. I will not forget either, he whispered. Somewhere, in the darkness between stars, the galaxy remembered too. They remembered Maya. They remembered what happened when you hurt a human child. And they never, ever forgot.